Our big story tonight, the silent slugger. Ryan Braun's representatives are taking extra precautions to protect the MVP. A man is in the hospital after he was shot in a standoff with police. Law enforcement says just after 1 this morning, they were called to a domestic disturbance on South 70th Street. When they arrived, a man refused to come out of the house. The area around the home was secured. Neighbors were kept at a distance. Officers say when the man finally walked out of his home, shots were fired. Suspect was hit, taken into custody. A neighbor describes the scene.
Police were negotiating him with a megaphone.
Man was taken to the hospital for treatment. His condition at this time is unknown. Milwaukee police investigating an afternoon shooting on the south side. Police aren't releasing much information at this time. What we do know is it happened near 12th and Burnham. Police say a 31-year-old man was shot and is now in the hospital. All lanes outbound are closed in the area. Right now, authorities believe all 12 are expected to survive. We will bring you more details as they come in to the newsroom. Braun says he has never taken performance-enhancing drugs. No report has been released by Major League Baseball of any wrongdoing at this time. The Brewers have played tonight. We'll, of course, have highlights coming up in sports. The murder was described as brutal. The victim's body is yet to be found. Today, a judge is listening to a third day of testimony that will help decide if voice recognition experts should be allowed at George Zimmerman's trial. Zimmerman is charged with second-degree murder for the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin back in February of 2012. The judge is trying to decide whether an expert can testify about 911 calls made by neighbors. Meanwhile, jury selection begins in a couple of days. The accident happened around 8 this evening. The van collided with two other vehicles on the Kennedy Expressway near downtown Chicago. The number injured has increased. Chicago Fire Department tells us 14 people inside the van have been taken to the hospital. 2 of them are apparently in critical condition. 1 taken to the hospital is an infant. We'll continue to follow this story and update you, of course, as information comes into the newsroom. In news closer to home, he is gridiron lore and his legend lives on at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Today, the Vince Lombardi Cancer Walk took some important steps. This is pretty bizarre. It's the kind of running pain she never expected. A Minnesota woman goes into labor shortly after finishing a 10-mile run. The accident happened around 8 this evening. The van collided with 2 other vehicles on the Kennedy Expressway near downtown Chicago. The number injured has increased since we originally reported. The Chicago Fire Department now telling us 14 people inside the van have been taken to the hospital. 2 of them are in critical condition. 1 taken to the hospital is an infant.
On June 23rd, Holinda will attempt a 1,300-foot-long skywalk across a deep canyon in Arizona.
No, thank you.
I can see it now. This is something else we're going to have to tell people not to do during severe weather. You know, it's severe thunderstorm warnings. Stay indoors. Stay away from windows.
And
don't tightrope walk outside.
We're on high chairs right now. I'm a little frightened, let alone the heights we're talking about there.
With no wind in here either. Yeah,
it's a good point.